So I wanted to give you kind of an update on this guy, the con man, Manny Regalado. I know a lot of people wonder how this happened to me, and I'm just going to do the long story short version. You can read my blog. I started a blog called Conned. I'm hoping it gets a lot of play. It is getting discovered a little bit in the Los Angeles area, and as a result, I've heard from more of Manny Regalado's victims from down there. But the reason he was in my home is that he had been volunteering at Whisker City, he'd done some handyman jobs and another small job over there. So he did a couple small jobs over there, and they were okay. And as a result, we invited him to the Whisker City Christmas party. So he had been talking a lot about how he was a house flipper in Los Angeles, and he had, his brags are endless. You have to read about those because I don't have time to talk about all of those. But I had hired him to put in a caregiver apartment downstairs. Here it is. Bid was $18,000. Of course, now I know it probably would have been $100,000 by the time he got done. But I wanted to bring my mother over, have a caregiver downstairs, and then I could still do my business and travel, and she'd have someone here with her. It was just an idea, and was real excited about it. So he's at the Christmas party. I had been painting and getting my kitchen kind of spruced up for the holiday season, and I noticed my wall was damp. And so I have a downspout right outside that wall in my kitchen. And I had a flat roof at the time, and it really needed to be replaced. It was time. Couldn't have any more layers put on it. It was time. So I was talking about this at the Christmas party, and Manny said he knew how to do roofing, but we were focused on this downstairs. So I thought, well, I'll do the downstairs, then I'll just patch the roof and do the roof in the summertime. So I go to Wenatchee, and I come back. Here's this major water pouring in my kitchen. I mean, it's like, if you see the video, it's this much, just pouring down. Everyone I've shown that video to that's in construction has said they've never seen a roof go from a damp wall to like a fire hose. And since Manny had been in my house, I think that they're suspicious, and I think I might have to agree with them. How did that happen? There was no branch on my roof, but here's this big leak. So Manny says he's around, so he says he can do the job. It's $30,000. So what I was paying him to do was to put a pitched roof over my flat roof. That's what I wanted. Well, he tears off the roof. It's during the storm, but there was a couple clear days, so he tears off the roof. You have to watch the videos to see this ridiculous tarping system he put in. And it was a disaster. And as a result, literally every room in my house got wet. Every wall, every room, upstairs, downstairs, every room. So I called my insurance company. They sent over Service Pro. Service Pro finds all these damp walls. Service Pro and Manny end up just gutting everything but the outside walls in my living room, but everything in the kitchen gets gutted. So now it's really bad. I'm living here. I've got this ridiculous tarping system. Allstate doesn't jump in and say, hey, we'll put a tarping system down. No one helps, right? There's 3 agents go through here. Look, after this happened to me, I'm talking to my agents, and they tell me they weren't allowed to tell me their suspicions because of liability. So it didn't matter what they thought. They didn't say anything. I'm just like, here's this guy. He tells me he's a good, got all this experience flipping houses. He's done this before. He's dealt with dozens of insurance claims. Oh my God, it was all a lie. So it was bad. I was gone. I was a caregiver, gone every 2 weeks for a few days, and he knew it. And every time I'd come back, I was just exhausted, and there was some other disaster. It's just, his work was so bad. You can look at the videos. You can see it's just ridiculously bad. So when I get my claim, I say to him, hey, look, I don't have the money to pay you, so any more money. So and I paid him by the week. In fact, I advance paid him $3,500. So he still owed me what he said was 10 days. He had this thing about this. I love this. He had what we called $350 days. He claimed he's worth 5 times that he got paid even more than that, from $1,500 to $3,500 a day when he was in Los Angeles, and he was giving me this deal. Whew. Boy, did he ever give me a deal. So, in fact, his deal, I spent 140 grand almost on his deal, and this is the $76,000 bid to fix what they know is wrong right now. Doesn't include the roof. This is everything else that he wrecked on my property. He did what they call a purposeful damage. And I found that he's done this to some other people. He goes in to do a job, but he damages your property while you're there. And it may not be something that shows up right away. But when it does show up, then you're going to call him back to fix it. I haven't found one person that he did the job right the first time. And then when they complain, he goes back and he fixes it all cheerful, and he fixes it at no charge. But his work is just terrible. So he's gone now, right? He leaves after I get my check. And I tell him, I call him back because I start finding things. All the plumbing leaks. There's water under my house. The list is long. There's just so much damage. So then my mother dies, and he comes back on this Saturday before her funeral on a Monday, and I just let him have it. And he turns and he looks at me and he says, "I never told you I knew how to do all this stuff." And that was it. I knew it was a con from day one. So that's when, after I got home from my mother's funeral, I started auditing all of my credit card receipts and found out he bought almost $6,000 in tools. And he kept them. He didn't give them to me. So he used those tools to do other jobs, I'm sure. I found where he had bought materials and returned the materials to Home Depot and got gift cards. So I don't have those gift cards. He had those gift cards. I don't have them. So the guy is a true con man, and I've spoken to his victims down in Los Angeles. The same thing. He comes in, he does a small job, he gets a lot of your confidence, then he goes in for the big kill. He gets you to write him a big check. Now, these people were wealthy, so they're writing them $95,000 checks, $50,000 checks, $100 and some $1,000 checks. As soon as he gets that check, bing, he's out. He's out. He's gone with the money. He has so many people mad at him down there. Now they found me. And my understanding, there's a little bit of an organizing going on now, because now they know where he is. I've also found a lot of other things about him that are pretty much all bad news. He owns nothing, so it doesn't do any good to sue him because he owns nothing. He's been sued 11 times. He's never shown up in court, not one single time, so these are all default judgments. He was able to get a license up here. This is an interesting thing. He was able to get a license by just putting down $12,000 for a bond. That's all you can get out of this guy is $12,000. So you're not going to go to court, sue somebody for $12,000 because it's going to be $20,000 to sue the guy. And he knows that. And then he does have insurance, but that's going away. So there's not really anything you can do. And Manny is one of thousands of cons like this, where they come into your house, they give you a bid, they tear your house up, you give them a big check, and they're gone. And this leaves, and they target elderly people, charity people. They give deals to low-income people because they know those people don't have the money to really fight back. So it's really sad. There's people who live in without heat, without water. Their houses are not saleable. I couldn't sell my house for what it's worth right now if I wanted to. So I'm forced to spend this $72 plus whatever my roof is going to cost. I'm sure well over $100,000. I'm forced to do that in order to protect my investment. This guy, he's still in town. He's living over in Wedgwood, hasn't paid his rent for 4 months. He's driving some guy's car that's a sports car. I was told he's borrowing this guy's car. I talked to the guy. The guy thinks he's their best friends. And he claims he's making payments. Yeah, he's making payments. I bet he's never made a complete payment. And I bet you those payments are spotty if he's making them at all. And he's going to stop making those payments and keep the car. I mean, this guy's up to no good. And this guy's going to sink like a bag of rocks. I really feel sorry for him. So anyway, I'm going to keep you posted. I started a blog called Conned. I hope you'll read it. I hope you'll share with other people. If you know anyone who's been through this, I've got a form on my website. I'd like them to fill it out. I'm hiring a videographer. We're going to be seeing if we can put together a documentary of some kind or some sort of video that will support people in how to get back on their feet for sure, and then prevent this con anyway. This guy, the guy with his little tongue sticking out, is that gross or what? We're going to keep that guy from hurting anybody else in the Seattle area. All right, that's my update. Stay tuned. I'm going to have more.